Hello everybody and welcome to this second video in which we will discuss the assignments and expectations of the class. All right, so I'm going to share my screen and we're going to get right to it. All right, so the first thing is that we will be doing 4 closed book exams. Now, I'm going to be very lenient with the proctoring. Traditionally, I've required, and I think it may still say in there somewhere, that all 4 exams must be proctored. Now, I think I tried to edit that out, but apparently I think a student mentioned that I missed it somewhere. But I'm not going to require proctoring this year for all the pandemic reasons. But what I am going to do instead is I'm going to limit the amount of time you have to take the exam. So you will have 75 minutes, barring any, ADA accommodations. You will have 75 minutes to complete the exam. All right. So, once you start it, the clock begins. So even if you close out your browser, the clock will still be running. All right. So once you begin, you have 75 minutes. That gives you about 1.5 minutes per question. All right. So if you haven't studied and you're trying to look up the answers while you're taking the test, you're not going to be successful. All right. There's just not enough time for it. All right. So you're going to want to study before the exams, and you're only going to have 75 minutes. But each of these exams will be 50 questions, multiple choice. And while there will be definitional questions, all right, so there will be questions, about what does this term mean, that kind of thing. A lot of the questions will also be application questions. So you will have to use the content and figure out the answer to a question with what you know about that concept. Okay. And if you have any questions about that, just let me know. I would recommend that to study, I would recommend not only filling out the exam review with definitions, I would also study to the point where you feel like you could explain each of these concepts to someone and even provide them multiple examples. Because one thing you will have to do in the exam from time to time is I will give you an example and you will have to describe to me what perceptual phenomena or process is responsible for the example and how it's responsible for it. So you'll want, I advise you study to the point that you could explain to someone who isn't in the class with you how these processes are working. Okay. You're also going to have 8 chapter outlines. Now, in these chapter outlines, what you're going to be doing is first you're going to take the headers, all right, and then, so for example, all right, I'm going to unshare here, and so like, this is wayfinding, so it's chapter 7, all right. So here's the header, here's a paragraph, here's a paragraph, here's another header. So you will make a bulleted list, all right, of all the headers, all right, and so you see how this one's a bigger a subheader to this one, right? So this one might be your one. These purple headers might be your 1, 2, 3s, and these green headers might be your ABCs. The specifics of what the bullets are is entirely up to you, but you do want to have a bulleted system, right? With some points being subpoints to others. So this might be a main point, this might be a subpoint, but you'd after going through and taking your headers down, you then want to go paragraph by paragraph, all right? And so you'll read this paragraph and you'll think, okay, so you'll finish the paragraph and you'll think, okay, what was the main point? And in your own words, you will not copy anything word for word from the book, all right? In your own words, what was the main point of that? And then you write it out, all right? Then if there are any other kinds of like definitions, you see a definition here, or if there are any supporting details, all right, again, you might then make sub-bullets for that main point, whatever you thought the main point of the paragraph was, make a sub-bullet, and then add in those details or add in those definitions. But again, even those details and those definitions, again, need to be in your own words, okay? There's a plagiarism check in Blackboard, and I'm not going to be accepting outlines that have a plagiarism check that's over 30%, okay? So keep that in mind, all right? This needs to be your own work, okay? Share my screen again with you. these outlines are largely graded by length. So I'll go through, make sure the formatting is right, and you can see the formatting requirements there. And then I will award you essentially 1.25 points per page. So basically a full 4-page outline will earn you 20 points. Okay, if it's 3 full pages, that's 15 points. If it's 2 full pages, then it's 10 points. And I think it has it listed here. All right. And then partial outlines get partial points. All right. So, if you give me a 3.5-page long outline, you're going to get 17.5 points. All right. So, basically what it amounts to is 5 points per page. Okay. So I think I said a point in 1.25. I think that's 1.2 points per quarter page. All right. All right. Now, this may seem to be one of the more confusing points, and that's the group participation. Now, I haven't done it yet. I'll do it by tomorrow. I will be randomly assigning the class into groups of 6, maybe 6 or 7, depending on the number of participants or number of people we have in class. We may not have the right number to have an even number of 6 in each group, but I'm going to randomly assign each group. And then what each group's going to do, because I've already posted the exam review, and I've organized it by chapter. All right. So this week, each group would work together to come up with what the book says about each of the items on that exam review, and then they might even talk about examples. And then at any point, if any of you guys are unsure about the examples you're using, all you have to do is send me an email and say, hey, Dr. Rendell, can you look at our discussion board from this day, whatever. You might even paste it into an email and send it to me. And say, hey, is this email about right? Or is this example about right for this concept? All right, because these discussion groups are study groups. All right. And so you will be graded largely on whether or not you participated in your study groups studying. All right, so in each week you'll need to study a different chapter. So this week you'll study chapter 1, next week you'll study chapter 2, next week you'll study chapter 3, etc. All right, and again, I would focus on the points from the exam review, okay, in those discussions. So again, like I said, the way I'll grade it is pretty simple. I'll just go through, I'll pull out my list, which I'll post a list of groups and group members, who's in each group. I'll post that list again by tomorrow, Wednesday. And I'll go through group 1, discussion group or study group 1. Did everybody contribute? Yeah, cool. You all got your points. Cool. All right, I'm going to be fairly easy on that. The only thing that I really care about is whether or not you're actually participating. All right, and hopefully this helps everybody study all the way through and so that they'll be very prepared for the exam. Now I want to move on to these last 2 things, which are our labs. So there are 4 labs that we will complete across the semester. So the class is broken into 4 units. We've got Unit 1, which is covered on Exam 1, Unit 2, which is covered on Exam 2, Unit 3, et cetera, et cetera. For each unit, you have another lab. And so in the first week, maybe it's the second week, I forget. We'll look at it in a second. In the first or second week of each unit, you have to do a lab data collection activity. So there are instructions about what you need to do. You will follow those instructions, you'll record the data that the instructions tell you to record, and then you'll submit that data to the lab data collection assignment link. Then in the exam week, you will write up a lab report. Now, I'm going to, at the beginning of the exam week, or sorry, the week after the lab data collections are due, which I think is actually the 3rd week, I will analyze the data from everybody and I will report it to you, because I know not everybody in here has taken applied quant yet, and that's fine. All right. So I will analyze the data for you, give you a rough idea of what you should report, and you will then be responsible for reporting it in your lab report, creating an APA style table for the means and standard deviations, and a graph, an APA styled graph for either if it's a differential design, then you will have to you take the means and standard deviations that I'll give you and put them into a graph and make sure it's APA formatted. And I'll give you a link that'll take you to a site that shows you how to make it all APA formatted. Or if it's a line graph, then I will post a video that I've made about how to make a line graph. And again, at any point, if you don't understand or you're uncertain about what you're doing, all you have to do is send me an email, maybe set up an appointment with me to meet digitally. But those lab reports then consist of three main things, all right? You've got a procedure section where it's a brief paragraph about where you write up what you did as the participant. Then you'll do your results section where you briefly state what the results of the analysis were. You put in your APA formatted table and your APA formatted graph, and then you have a discussion section. And this discussion section is where you're going to spend most of your time, because this is where you're going to identify two concepts from the unit that we are currently covering that are relevant to the lab. All right. You then not only have to identify what those concepts are, you have to explain why they're relevant. Okay. And then you're done. All right. So you'll have a title page that's APA formatted. The whole document should be APA formatted. You'll have a procedure, results, discussion, done. All right. And you'll do that 4 times. All right. So you'll collect data 4 times, once for each unit, and you'll write up a lab report 4 times, once for each unit. You won't be able to do the lab report until you get the analyses, the results from me. All right, which again, I'll post a video just for that. It won't be in the announcement video. It'll be a second video later that week, probably posted by that Wednesday. Okay? All right, guys, that's it for our assignments. I'm going to now share with you the breakdown of points. Okay, so let me share the screen again with you once more time. So here you've got all the assignments and the points. All right. Here's how many points you need for each grade, letter grade. And then this is the course schedule, and this is your friend, okay? This tells you for each week what assignments are due and what chapter we're covering. And all of these due dates are the Sunday of the week they're listed unless it specifies otherwise. So you see here in the last week, right, the week that begins on November 30th, all extra credit, and it specifies a date other than Sunday, right? Friday, December 6th at 11:59 p.m. All of these others, there's no date specified. That means they are due the Sunday of that week. So, lab data collection 1, that's due this Sunday. All right. Chapter 1 discussion, and all that means is the study groups need to contribute to their studying for chapter 1 by Sunday. Everybody needs to contribute by Sunday. All right. So that's all that is. Next Sunday you'll have Unit 1 Outline 1 due, right? The Sunday after that you'll have Unit 1 Outline 2 due. All right. So this is in the syllabus. Now the dates are also in, I believe they should be in Blackboard, but if they're not, let me know and I'll fix them. But the dates are also right there. Okay. So be sure to follow along. And again, I'll post an announcement video at the beginning of every week to remind you what you need to do each week, but you can always follow along with that. But I want you to watch those announcement videos because I won't just be reminding you, most times I'll just be reminding you what you need to do, but sometimes I'll be including additional information that you'll want to know. Okay? All right, guys, that's it for this video covering the assignments for class. As always, if you have any questions, let me know. If not, have a great one. I'll see you next time.